So I want to welcome everybody here today. So my name is Charity. I'm with Valley Caregiver Resource Center. All right. So we actually have 5 different programs. They're molded under 4. So our first program is our Caregiver Resource Program. That is actually our biggest program. So that one goes all the way down to Kern County and all the way up to Stanislaus and Tuolumne. But we are one of 11 caregiver resource programs. So anywhere in the state, you can actually find organizations that work within this program or that have this organizations that have this program. And what this program does is they work with informal caregivers. So they work with those who take care of their loved ones and basically don't get paid for it. And they do it out of the goodness of their heart, whether it be their spouse, whether it be their partner or their mom, their dad, their adult child, or even their neighbor. It could be anybody who's taking care of their loved one. So, and what we offer with that program is it could be anything from somebody just calling and talking to one of our family consultants and needing to vent. Sometimes when caregiving, you need to have somebody who's not going to hold it against you. And it's an opportunity, what I call word vomiting. I do it to my sister all the time. You just call and go, and get it all out. And then you can take a deep breath and go on. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes it's information. We have books and fact sheets, depending on what your struggles are. We have information to help with that. Sometimes it's support groups such as this one. We do have caregiver support groups. We have information that is shared via classes and education. So we have a lot of different classes throughout those 9 counties, whether they're virtual or hybrid like this, or they're something like just in-person classes. Some of those classes focus on different struggles, like behavioral challenges. Or we have one coming up that is talking about senior abuse. We had one coming up that's talking about diabetes. We just had one about Medicare. So there's a lot of different things that we and classes that we offer to try and keep our community educated about what things that just can come up. So there's a lot of education. We also have a caregiver class that is a 6-week class that's called Powerful Tools for Caregivers. This class is an evidence-based class, and we work with the caregivers and we talk about depression. We talk about communication. We talk about how to work with those difficult times when you're caregiving with your loved one. But we also really encourage self-care, because if the caregiver doesn't take care of themselves, they can't take care of their loved one. And so that's very important that the caregiver takes care of themselves, because there's so many times out there that the caregiver passes before the care receiver because they give all their energy, all their love and everything to their care receiver. And they forget to take care of themselves, and that makes it hard. So we really, in that class, we emphasize self-care also. We also just started another class called Matter of Balance. It is an 8-week evidence-based class, and that we focus on fall prevention, and we talk about our feelings about falls and our fear of falls and get through that. We also work on some exercises and really just communicate and work together as a group about seeing what accommodations we can do for those for our, to be able to still be engaged within the community. Our next is our OASIS program. That is a day program. That one is in Fresno by our office. It's on Barstow and Fresno Street. And that program is a day program. Now, there's two different kinds of day programs. This day program is a social-based program. So it is something that they do socially for those with any kind of cognitive impairment. So they're playing bingo, and I saw pictures of somebody playing golf, and they had a little golf setup for them to play golf, and they do cornholes and just lots of stuff to keep them moving, engaged. Sometimes they're coloring, sometimes they're doing other arts and crafts, or they're doing some kind of trivia to keep their mind engaged. And that social engagement itself. Now, the unique thing about this program is that we keep it cost effective. So it's only $10 an hour, which is really good considering if you were to have somebody come in your home, it's anywhere from $30 to over $40 an hour. So having it only $10 an hour is a lot more cost effective. And we are in the process of getting the insurance are accepting insurances through it also. So that is something in the future to come. We also have our HICAP program, and I hope everybody knows about what HICAP is. HICAP is a health insurance counseling advocacy program. And what that is it is a program where they're all certified Medicare counselors. They don't sell anything. They don't try and persuade you to do anything. All they're there to do is help you with your Medicare. And so they will lay out your options if you're going through enrollment, which open enrollment's right around the corner. So if you have questions about your policy, they will try and answer any questions you have. And they know about the programs. They know about anything to do with Medicare. We even have somebody who's certified with long-term care so that they can talk about that options and what the options are and how that would be covered under your plan. But what's unique about our HICAP, because the HICAP is all through the state, and in other states they're called SHIPs. And so what's unique about our HICAP is that all of our counselors are also certified senior Medicare patrol. What that means is that they can identify and report and help with fraud when it comes to Medicare. And so what that means is that they can go ahead and let's say they're talking to you because you called them about a bill, and they're like, this doesn't make sense. And they will actually call who gave you the bill, investigate it, and if it's fraud, report it right then and there. And they have lowered bills, they have eliminated bills, they do a lot to help with anybody who is a Medicare beneficiary. Then we have our ombudsman program, our long-term care ombudsman program. This is for Fresno, Madera. Also, HICAP is for Fresno, Madera. And what they do is they go into any certified long-term care facility and advocate for those that are there, the residents of those long-term care facilities. So there are, we only have, I think, 8 staff, and 3 of those staff are full-time. There are over 10,000 beds within Fresno, Madera County. So they visit every single one of those beds and talk to every single one of those residents every month. So they really depend on their volunteers. They have usually it runs around 40 volunteers at all times to help them with that. They investigate abuse. They go to the residents and let them know, who they are, what they do, and they chat with them. Sometimes our ombudsmen are the only visits that these people get. So it's very important. The work that they do is very, very important. Okay, so those are our programs. Oh, I forgot about the telephone reassurance program. That's our newest program. And what that one is that it's a program that we have set up to help fight isolation. So somebody that's isolated or at home and doesn't get out a lot, having somebody call them on a regular basis just to check in, see how they're doing, have a conversation is very helpful and empowering. Giving that connection to the outside is very empowering. So it is volunteer based also. There's a couple staff, and then there's several volunteers that call, and they can call as many times as we have one that they call twice a day, but she ends up calling them probably 10 times a day. And they'll just call her and talk to her. And then there's some people that get it once a month or once a week. So it's up to them how often they want to have that conversation with somebody. And so it really does depend. And it's a fun program to see develop and see how it's growing, because there's a lot of people who like to have that check-in from somebody, and they build those relationships with them. So those are our programs and where we are. Any questions on those before I move on? No? Okay, cool. All right. Let's see here. All right. So we're going to talk today about community resources. And what services do you need to do that evaluation? Everybody's going to be different when it comes to that question. So how to find services are, I think, the knowing how to find them is most important. How many of you have heard of 211? Calling 211 from any phone, you can actually ask them for services, any services. So if you need to find food resources, or if you need to find anything, they can help you find those resources within your community. When my daughter was younger, she needed some assistance and I didn't know what to do with her. And so I called 211 and asked them, I told them my situation, what was going on. They said, have you ever heard of Big Brothers, Big Sisters? I said, yeah, but I never really thought about it before. Well, they gave me the information. I called Big Brother, Big Sister. She was actually connected with a big sister within, I think it was just a couple of months. They said, oh, this is our fastest connection ever. Those two are still besties. My daughter was in her wedding, her big sister's wedding. She was, her big sister just is pregnant now with her second baby, and my daughter has been there through it all. They have been besties now for 13 some odd years now. And so I would have never even thought of that organization if it wasn't for 211. So, but you can do that for anything. They can help you find those resources. So knowing how to find those resources are important. You can call your community members, talk to your friends, families. You can call Valley Caregiver Resource Center and say, I just don't know where to go. And they have a pamphlet of information that they can give out of information. So knowing where to find those resources is very, very important. I'm going to try and move this. All right. So supporting outside of the home. So thinking about what you need. Do you need support outside of the home? So are you needing transportation? Transportation, it's called, hold on, I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it. It is called Taxi Script. Have you guys heard of Taxi Script before? They give anybody, I think it's 65 or 70, anybody, I think it might be 70 years old and older, 75% off of taxi rides. 75% off. So they can call up, you go through that process, and then you buy what's called the script. And you can use it on Uber, you can use it on Lyft, or even a taxi service, and they can help to get you where you need to go, and at a discounted rate. So it is very helpful. Adult day programs or community centers, finding what you need outside your home is finding those resources sometimes is important to keep you from becoming isolated. There's also the legal aids. How many of you have heard of Central California Legal Services? So they work with anybody, I think it's 60 or 65 years and older, and they, for free, they will help with whether it's power of attorneys, whether it's medical or financial, wills and trust, advanced medical directives, your pulse form that you could get from your doctor's office or online. And whenever I talk about any kind of legal aid, I talk about the importance of telling somebody. Those conversations can be somewhat awkward and hard to have, especially with your young ones, younger, like my daughter. But I actually just had the conversation with her in December. And it just happened that a couple months before that, our neighbor had a brain aneurysm. And she had a do not resuscitate on her pulse form. But when she was taken to the hospital, they didn't have it until after an hour after they revived her. She was in a coma for months. Then went to rehab and was a vegetable, then went to hospice and then passed away. It happened within about 5 months. It took 5 months for her to pass away because nobody knew where to find her pulse form. They didn't have it on file. So what I did when I heard this, I went to my doctor. I said, I need copies of my pulse form. I took pictures of it and I sent it to every family member I knew. I said, here, I need you all to know what I want because I don't want to take that long for me to pass away. And then having that advanced medical directive is important too, because somebody has to make those decisions if you cannot. So somebody has to be able to make those decisions. And you really want to be able to make that choice of who's making it. Because if you don't state who's going to make it, then the doctors are going to make it. And it may not be what you want. And for me, I know I cannot go to my daughter to have her make those decisions because she has such a huge heart. She's not going to want to make the decisions I want. She has such a huge heart and she loves so much. I'm the only one that's been in her life. So I know it's going to be very difficult for her to make those choices with a sound mind. Now, my sister, on the other hand, she just finished nursing school. I know she'll do exactly what I want. And I've had those conversations with her. Again, having those conversations with your loved ones so they know what you want and when and what to do in certain things. So they know if you want a feeding tube, they know if you want to be, brought back, if you need to be on a breathing tube, for how long you need to do this. All of these stuff, this needs to be discussed, and that's why it's important. And every time I talk about legal aid, I emphasize talk to your loved ones. And then caring in the home. There are so many kinds of in-home care, but sometimes we all need it. It could be as much as somebody coming in your home to do your lawn or do your house cleaning. That costs money though too. But what if it's in-home care? You need somebody to, come in and stay with your loved one because their cognitive abilities are not there. And again, that can cost anywhere from $30 to $40+ an hour with a minimum of 3 hours or 4 hours, depending on where you go. That can add up quickly. Or what if you need home health care to come in, whether it's wound care, medicine, to injections or any of that? That can be anywhere from $150 to $250 a visit. They're coming in once a week. That adds up quick. So what if it's becoming end of life or you want palliative or hospice care? Palliative and hospice care are two different things. Palliative care, you're still getting treatment for whatever your ailment may be, whether it's dementia, whether it's, cancer or whatever it may be, you can still get those treatments for it. Hospice care is about comfort. It's about making that end of life journey as comfortable and smoothly as possible. And it's not for, I'm going to get on hospice, I'm going to die. It's, I'm going to start this journey. It could be 6 months. It could be 3 years. As long as you continue in that decline, that hospice is going to be able to help you. So they will provide bedding. They will provide any durable medical equipment needed. They will provide all your medications and medication management. So if anything happens, you call them because they have a team of people who are there to help you. That team of people, not just there to help you, but they're there to help your loved one. So your loved one will get a social worker that will work with them for counseling services. A lot of hospices will have support groups. They will have ability to have a doctor on call 24/7, nurses on call 24/7. They have somebody come in and do the bathing if needed. So it's all done through hospice, all of the care. And there are so many hospice within Fresno County alone. You do not have to be with one. If you don't like the way that they do it, you can change. You can say, you know what, I think I'm going to fire you and go to them. And that's okay. You have that choice. You do not have to stay with the same hospice. And that's so important to know because advocating for yourself is very important. Okay? So knowing what kind of care you need in your home is very important too. It could just be as much as compassion care. And you can get that through Catholic Charities. They have a compassionate care program where they just come in and will sit with your loved one. And for somebody who's maybe not mobile a lot, but may need, like a cup of water or whatever, and they can just sit there and talk to them or play games with them to keep them engaged while you go get your nails done or your hair done or have a break, a breather, take a shower. Sometimes that just makes the world of difference when you don't have to have stress while you're taking a shower. It could be as simple as that. So knowing what you need and what kind of care you need is very important. Okay. Any questions so far? No? All right. Either I'm doing a really good job or y'all are falling asleep. So I'll take the really good job. All right. Let me get back over here. All right. Next. There we go. All right. So benefits of connecting with that community, with your community. Learning what resources are available. Well, you're doing that today by attending the support group. There are a lot of different support groups within the community. And what can they give to help? Well, you've learned what Valley Caregivers has to offer, but there are so many different organizations out there that offer different things. There's like Resources for Independent Central Valley. That one works with anybody that has a disability. They promote independence. They help with, working with you to help. So if you want a job, they can help with that and engaging with you and teaching you different skills, or they can help with your resume, whatever it may be to help you get to that point. If it's finding housing or applying for in-home supportive services or whatever it is, they can help you do that to increase your independence so that you can stay in your home longer. Or let's say you start losing your hearing. My mother's doing this right now. And the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Service Center has a support group called, what'd you say? That's the name of the group. What'd you say? Because it's for those that are just losing their hearing, but haven't maybe gotten their hearing aids yet, or they've gotten to that point where they're just starting through that process. And so knowing about those resources and being able to connect to them are very important. My mother still refuses to go get her hearing aids. She's been qualified for probably about 5 years now and hasn't done it. So help with life changes. Life throws some curveballs at you all the time, right? Yeah, everybody has them. And whether it's, oh, now I'm caring for my loved one, I'm caring for both of my parents. My dad just beat cancer. And my mom has Crohn's and is going to be having surgery to remove some of her intestines shortly. So we have some big changes coming about us. And it's part of life. Life makes those changes sometimes thrown at you and you don't expect it, like those. Sometimes you can expect it, like my daughter moving to Colorado. So, sometimes you can anticipate it. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I'm not getting her back. She found love and children. So I'm not getting her back anytime. But so sometimes they're good. Like the first time your granddaughter says, "Hi, Grandma Charity," and you can really hear it. And it's the best thing ever. Sometimes they're hard. And those changes can hurt with, stress, depression. Sometimes there are changes just with unable to upkeep your home. And connecting with your community can help with that. Sometimes it's just those family connections. Sometimes you're a friend of a long time and you haven't talked to them in, several years, or a family member you haven't talked to in several years. And how do you reconnect with them? Or do you want to reconnect with them? Is it healthy to reconnect with them? So really just evaluating that and having somebody to talk to is very important. Learning new tips and tricks. Well, that's a big one. We are always learning, and I always love to learn something new. So my job today is hopefully by the time I'm done, you guys can learn something new from today. I hope that you take away something. Or call me. You can share my information, Jessica. And I definitely, if you're having a struggle, may have somebody, or maybe I don't know somebody who can help with it, but I may know somebody who knows somebody. And that's so important because I do have a lot of resources and people that I can ask to see what those challenges are. And maybe we can find some new tips and tricks. And sometimes that comes with education. How are we going to deal with certain behaviors when it comes to that? Cognitive impairments come with life sometimes, and different challenges happen. My dad, for instance, he's showing early signs of dementia. He is now wiping off his paper plates and wanting to reuse them and silverware. I caught him putting them back in the cupboards after using them. I don't want to use your dirty plates. You can reuse your dirty plates. I don't want them. So I cleaned off a part of the counter and have a spot for him to put his dirty plates. That way he needs to reuse. He has a spot he can put them and reuse them. I had to then communicate with my siblings and tell them what I was doing. Because if they came in and saw a pile of dirty plates, I wanted them to know why. And so my sister texted me probably about a couple weeks after I told her this, and she's all like, "I may have thrown away a few plates and bowls in somewhere." It happens. You have to sort of work with it. My mother left on the stove. And it was on it's a stove and it's gas. It was on for 2 days before we found it. It was on really low. Luckily, it was lit because we weren't just getting gas. But we didn't see it for 2 days. And it scared us. And so now every time we go into the kitchen, we're making sure that all the knobs are off. But, if they're turning on the stove and they don't need to be, pull off those knobs. Find ways to make it a little bit challenging, but learn those tips and tools for whatever challenges you may be facing. Okay? And then fight isolation. You guys are doing it by being here and going to a support group. That helps so much, but there's so many people that don't, that won't leave their home. I have an aunt who she still works, but she'll go from home to work and work to home and home to work and work to home, and that's all she does. All her groceries are delivered. All her food is delivered. Nothing she does anything else. And it's heartbreaking.
I'm not sure I understand.
My watch wants to talk to. So there's a lot of things that you can do to fight that isolation by being engaged within your community, coming out. But some people aren't comfortable with that. So there's programs though, support groups. You can do it virtually like this, and that's great. Education sometimes is virtually, and it gives you that connection, or in person. Community, there's the senior centers. I know that like the Clovis Senior Center has a lot going on. They do like the prom, and they do a series of educational classes. Actually been invited in October to go talk to one of those. So there's a lot of things that you can do to help with isolation and to keep everybody, keep yourself engaged within the community. You said you did Tai Chi here, right? That is awesome. Just doing something to engage in keeping your body moving outside the home can be helpful. Sometimes it's not possible with medical conditions. It really depends. But trying to stay as engaged as possible, whether it's virtually or in person, can help fight that. Any questions so far? I love questions. I welcome them. Okay. And that's it. That's all I have. I encourage you to find your community service, your whatever is you're needing. Call us, call 211, try something new. And feel free to give me a call. That's my phone number, the 224-9154. So that's my phone number, and at work, so I will not be there till Tuesday. But you can call there, and if you have questions, comments, feel free to give us a call. Again, my name is Charity. Just note that our website is under construction right now. We're trying to fix everything on it, but it is www.valleycrc.org. You're very welcome. Just note that some of the information might be out of date because we are trying to update it and recreate it. So, but you will get the gist. But if you want to be on our newsletters or anything like that, feel free to, so you can sign up for that through the website or give us a call. And I send out my class lists all the time. Have some really good ones coming up. I usually will always have a dementia behaviors class. And that's good with any kind of cognitive impairment with behaviors. So not just dementia, but with anything. So, and that I do have coming up. We usually have a book club for caregivers. That's once a quarter. And we not too long ago did a class on hospice. What is hospice? Trying to really get that stigma away from hospice. So Matter of Balance isn't what we call an evidence-based class. What that means is that when they were developing the class, they did lots of research and they did lots of surveys and everything to see the best way to teach this class. So it is 8 weeks. We meet for once a week for 2 hours. The first couple of sessions is to get to know what Matter of Balance is about. So we're going to watch a video. We're going to talk about, isolation and about our falls and the fear of falling. And then the third class, we start doing our exercises. And so we'll do 45 minutes to an hour of exercises. And then we'll do 45 minutes to an hour of talking. And we'll have activities, and it is really a group discussion. So anybody who's attending that class is talking about their fear of falling, certain situations that give us that increased fear. For an example, if I go to, my neighbor invites me over to dinner one night, and I know that they have stairs going up into their house. Well, guys, I have a lot of medical problems. I have arthritis that's really, really bad. So stairs are not my best thing. I can do them, but on my bad days, sometimes I just can't do them without assistance. So I really have to think about it. Do I really want to go over to my friend's house? What if I can't get off the stairs? What if I fall down the stairs? What will happen to me? And that fear, that anxiety is really going to build up for anybody. And so instead of thinking about those things, think of things that you can do. So that way you can go have dinner at your neighbor's house. Or maybe you're saying, if you don't mind cooking at my house, so I don't have to go up the stairs. Or can you help me up the stairs? So that way I don't fall or anything. Or is there another path into the house that's a little bit more accessible? Can we do it in the front lawn? Instead do a barbecue and do it in the front yard so I don't have to go up the stairs. There's a lot of ways that you can come up with those solutions and things to help out. Or have you ever been to Warner's Theater? It's not accessible. I love the place. It's beautiful. They do before COVID, they used to do a lot of things. My favorite was going to watch the black and white silent film of Phantom of the Opera. And they had the piano organ out and they were playing the music and they had an opera singer there. It was the best. But again, I don't do stairs that well. And our seats were at the top and that place is not accessible. So things I have learned to do is asking for more time to get to my seat so I don't feel like I'm being rushed. So the people behind me, I don't have to stop or wait for them to go around me. I can take my time to get to my seat. And sometimes just asking for those accommodations can help. So there are things that you can do to help out to make sure that you can still attend. I love going to caverns. Some caverns are not accessible. A lot of caverns are not accessible. And they have stairs. And if you're on a tour, there's no way I can keep up with people. Because of my arthritis, because I cannot walk in rough terrain or stairs or anything very quickly. So I go slower. So what I do is either I ask them if there's a self-guided tour or if there's a way that I can go before everybody else. And they always make those accommodations, but you have to know to ask. And those are things that we talk about during the class. What accommodations can we ask? This was actually developed in Maine, I believe it was, and it was a while ago. I became a master trainer a year ago, and then I had to train staff to be able to teach this class also. So they have been trained. Right. So the class is actually taught by myself, and we have three trained staff who teach the class. We have only been we did our first class in, I want to say February or March was our first class. So we've had 3 classes since. And depending on funding, but this class is also offered through community hospital. So all of our exercises are focused on the aging community. So the class is focused on the aging community. So the exercises, a lot of them are sitting down on a chair. We make sure that they're not chairs with wheels. We talk about the fear of falling and what we can do around our home to also decrease falls. But some of them are as simple as your morning stretch or rotating your ankles. Some of them are standing up but holding onto your chair. It is all adapted. So if there's certain things that you can't do, such as stand, then you do those exercises sitting down. So it really depends, but nothing is on the floor. It's all either sitting position or standing position. Those are the exercises that we do. Or it could be one of the exercises is just marching in place. Okay, so it really depends on your abilities, though, because some people can't stand and march. So they'll sit and march while we stand and march. So it really depends on what their ability is. So, but yes, it was developed in Maine, but it is taught all over the U.S. Matter of balance. Yes. And then we also bring in a professional, either occupational therapist, physical therapist, or nurse comes in to talk about what happens when you do fall. Because I have fallen. And what do I do? It's been a while since I fell, but I hope I don't do it again. But what happens if I do? Thinking about, well, where am I? What do I have near me that can help me to get up? Can I get up? Can I get to a phone to call 911? All these things that we will have somebody come in and talk to us about. And then we have our graduation at the end of the class, at the last class. So it is a very thorough class. And like I said, it is evidence-based, and they have done lots of research of how to teach this class, but it is very thorough. Thank you for having me.